Please welcome to stage founder at Ship&Co, Thomas Bertrand.
Hello everyone, very happy to be here. So my name is Thomas. As you can hear from my accent, I'm from France. You can see the croissant as well. But actually, I've been living in Japan for 20 years in the beautiful city of Kyoto. So today I'm going to talk to you about my journey with Shopify and Ship&Co. So basically, I'm selling on Shopify since 2006, since Shopify beta. Yeah, I'm over 40 years old. And then we created Ship&Co, a shipping guide for us as a seller, and we published Ship&Co on the Shopify App Store in 2017. And then at the end, I'm gonna do a few words about localization and Japanese market. I'd be very happy also to answer your question about Japan Shopify. So first of all, Ship&Co, what we do. Ship&Co is a shipping app. We connect your store, multiple stores, and your carriers like DHL, FedEx, UPS, and we also connect with all the Japanese domestic carriers. And basically, you just click on a button to print shipping labels. So I'm going to tell you more about that. We are a small team of 6 people based in Kyoto, Singapore, and Lisbon. So first of all, Shopify in beta. Back then, from 2005, I was blogging about my life in Japan. Really like to talk about the Japanese culture and as well about what we used to call Web 2.0. And so I was really interested into tech. And I heard about Shopify. I got an invitation to try out the beta. And I started I opened a store, very simple. Obviously, it was very simple at that time. And I sold like a few T-shirts with my blog name on it and other cute things from Japan. I got probably 15 orders over 6 months. I didn't do that for a business to make money, but I was just very interested to learn how to sell online. It was so new. I'm not a dev, I'm not a graphic designer. So being able to just create an account, link your PayPal account to it, and get orders to ship them, it was completely awesome. I then opened a store in 2007 for the Japanese company I used to work with in Osaka. And we sold art toys. We've got orders from different countries. So shipping from Japan to the US, to Australia, to Europe. It was amazing. And at that time, I got married and I had the pressure to find a better job. Maybe I had to move to Tokyo to find, to get a better salary and so on. But I didn't want to work for someone. I really wanted to be my own boss and get the freedom of, and Shopify was here at the right time. Plus it was, end of 2008, financial crisis heating up. Really bad timing, actually. So, yeah, I just decided to open my own store, but I didn't know what to sell. So I got this idea of selling bento boxes. The bento without the food inside, but bento boxes and all these accessories you can find only in Japan, because I thought anywhere in the world, they love to cook their lunch, pack their lunch, and bring it at school or at work. So I tried it, and I bought $500 worth of stock from 2 Japanese makers, and I launched Bento&Co in November 2008. And a couple of hours after we launched it, we got the first order. And basically, the people who followed on my blog, they just become customers. And other bloggers talked about my store. And that's it. That's how I started, without spending anything on marketing for maybe 2 years. The community I built on my blog over 2-3 years just brought me some customers, and that's how the Bento&Co started. So over years, I started with a Shopify store, first in French, selling in euros, and then one in English, selling in US dollars, and then Japanese store. We even opened a retail store in Kyoto in 2012. And after a few years, we have shipped orders in more than 100 different countries, territories. And back then, there's no Shopify markets. And fun fact, Harley didn't even work at Shopify when we launched Bento&Co, actually. There's no really app store as well when we started, very few apps. And doing marketing was very cheap. One note actually about the marketing, with Facebook, no Facebook ads at that time, and no pages actually back in end of 2008. We had a Facebook group, and we were able to see every or fan email addresses and send them an email for free. Good days. And there's a lot of limitation, obviously, with Shopify, but it actually works. If you had a Shopify account, a PayPal account, we are able to, to get orders, get the money in your bank account, and sell to worldwide without Shopify markets, without Shopify payment, and so on. It just worked very well. But we had to make some tricks. There's no apps, for example, to make a picking list or like your packing slips every morning. Every day you come to the office and you want to pack your pack orders. And so one trick we got is this screenshot is the actual email, Shopify email. We got the notification we got every time we got an order. There's no app, very difficult way for us to make an app at that time. So we said, okay, we got this email from Shopify every time we got a new orders. So let's just customize this email and let's print out this email to be our packing slip and picking list. And that's what we did. And so yeah, this email we just printed every day, and it was very useful for us to do so. And actually we used Thunderbird because of the only email client that can do bulk printing. Oops. Okay. So, marketing was cheap, but shipping takes way too much time for us. And on that, marketing, sales, we figure out how to go out and get more orders. And the more orders you get, of course you're happy, but it takes so much time. A few days before Christmas in 2012, we got 100 orders, different orders to ship with FedEx. I was so happy, Okay, 100 orders to ship, that's great, but it took me 4 to 5 hours to ship them. Basically, I have one window with a Shopify order admin open and one window for a FedEx web app, and just copy pasting a customer's name, address, zip code, and so on. It takes maybe 5 minutes per orders if you don't make any error, so way too much. So we were looking, for something to make it smoother. It was very complicated. We wanted to, because we do cross-border shipping, we offer different services. Some customers are okay to wait, 2 weeks to get the orders. So it was fine to send this by Japan Post, economy services. And for other customers, they want, their order fast. So we ship by FedEx. But actually, if you ship to some other countries, DHL was better, and to other countries, UPS. So we want, to work with all these different carriers. But the more carriers you have, the more, the process, manual process to actually print the shipping labels become complicated. So we come out with this idea to do an app for us just to save time, and that's what Ship&Co helped doing it. So basically, on Ship&Co, you connect your Shopify stores, multiple stores is fine, and your carriers, and you can print the shipping labels. We did it, of course, for us at first, not in the idea to resell it. And so, talking with our staff, working in the warehouse, getting their feedback was very important, to define how the UI UX will be. And so, if you are building an app, it's very important that you work not only with the sellers, but the people who actually use it, because you're gonna do a much better work if you do that. And another thing that really helped us to build Ship&Co is we actually do know what it is as a seller, to pack on orders and to ship it with those carriers. And when you understand the actual process, all the manual work you have to do to ship orders, you understand way more the API documentation for these carriers. If you look at FedEx or DHL API documentation, probably more than half of their features and functions they have are not worth it. You don't need that for most sellers on Shopify. And so we understood that well, so we started quite simple, with a simple app, and got more and more features. So when we talked about our app to other friends on Shopify and so on, they really wanted to use it. And so we saw the opportunity. Okay, let's build an app for Shopify sellers and other sellers and launch it on the Shopify App Store. Obviously, Japan is a big market. I think it's the third or fourth largest e-commerce market in the world. Many people are actually buying online, even on their mobile, since early 2000. So it's actually an old market that stay maybe 10, 15 years behind. And a lot of partners we wanted to work with are actually not really tech savvy. It took me about 1 year to get API documentation from the main carriers, which are Yamato and Sagawa. Yamato and Sagawa, they are very efficient. They can deliver your orders within 24 hours everywhere in Japan. And you can, usually when you buy on a marketplace in Japan, you can select to get your order in the morning or between 2 and 4, 4 and 6, or even before 9 p.m. every day, even on Sunday. Very efficient, no API. So talk with them for about 1 year before being able to get a contract, even pay money sometimes, and get their API documentation. I don't blame them because back in the days, actually, even like international carriers, FedEx, DHL, UPS, they didn't have any team, in charge of like API and tech partnership in Japan. So on these pictures, this DHL envelope, it's actually when we asked DHL Japan to send us their API documentation. We got a CD in an envelope. Now we work with them, and they have actually a team in charge of API partnership, even in Japan. So we launched Ship&Co for other sellers. First of all, actually, I don't remember exactly why, but we got like eBay sellers. We did the integration with eBay, and there's a large community in Japan actually selling on eBay to cross-border. Japan has many high-quality products, even if they are used, and actually a lot of people buy on eBay from Japanese sellers. And someone at eBay knew about us. They introduced us to eBay sellers in Japan, and it works well. And actually, what we see now is we see many large shippers on eBay in Japan creating a Shopify stores because they use their knowledge about logistics and selling online, and to have their own store, own brand, and not sell only on eBay. One other thing, credibility is we got one of the famous socks brand on Tabio in Japan. They have over 100 different retail stores all over Japan. And they started a Shopify store in 2017, and they worked for FedEx to ship to the US and Canada. And so FedEx knew about us, so FedEx introduced Ship&Co to Tabio. When we heard that this famous brand in Japan was using our app, we contacted them. We did a testimonial video, and we share the video on our website and App Store to show other brand, especially in Japan. If you can show that a famous business is using your app, it's very important for credibility. And so we also understand that it was very difficult to search for new customers, new users by reaching out, so sending cold email or calling people. It doesn't work. What really worked for us to work with all the carriers and partners. So obviously Shopify Japan, before COVID, we did a lot of events in Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka. We also work a lot with all these international carriers, DHL, FedEx, UPS, and they know how Ship&Co really helps their customers, their client, to sync their store, get the right data to print shipping labels without an issue. So working with the partners instead of trying to reach the sellers is very effective for us. It might be effective for your app if you are app developers. Don't be distracted. So on this slide, I want to talk about how we lost probably 1 year because I was looking to do a Series A back in 2018-19. I met with 40 different VCs and completely lost time. I was not focused on listening to the staff, listening to the customer support, and wanted to do too many features, too many integration that I thought could help us to grow. Actually, no. The timing wasn't good for us before COVID. So we ended up not raising money in 2018-19. Then COVID happened, got much more customers in using our app, and that's fine with that. And now that we are, we understand what our customers really need, and we understand they don't need so many features actually. That spending more time on listening to your customers and understanding who they are, so you can try to find similar type of sellers is very important. So now we try to do much more sales and marketing to grow Ship&Co. And so it's working well for us now because Shopify obviously is much bigger in Japan now than comparing to 5 years. On this screenshot, it's Amazon Japan. There's over like 10 different books telling you how to start your store in Japan. There's even a book like for Shopify partners, how to, they explain to you the API and so on. Books with paper in Japan, it's still a thing. And there's actually a lot of books about business and marketing. There's like some books how to sell on eBay, how to use Instagram for your business, and so on. People really like that kind of books. And there's about like 10 different books about Shopify on the Japanese. It's not Kindle, it's real books published. And one numbers I heard that 5% of Shopify partners worldwide are actually based in Japan. I think it's a big number. And it shows how, for like a non-English speaking countries, I remember that Japanese is the second language added on the Shopify admin. Before French, before German, before Spanish, Shopify really did a lot of good work, to localize completely the admin and the homepage, to catch up more with Japanese brands. So there's real opportunities for any partners, agencies, app developers, to work with thousands of Shopify sellers, small businesses and large businesses. One thing also I have seen in Kyoto, I know like 3 Shopify Plus around our office, and they don't make like millions in revenue, for sure. But they use Shopify Plus. And one of the main reasons I think of that is because with Shopify Plus, you got this support from Shopify. You can call someone at Shopify to help you for marketing and for or tech issue. And this is something that businesses in Japan are really happy about it. A lot, like 5 years ago, 3 years ago, when we were still not sure what to do with Ship&Co, I guess like a lot of businesses were just not ready for SaaS, like to pay a subscription every month. But now it's really changed, and it's changed for like small businesses and very large businesses. And even like the medium-sized businesses, they're happy to pay Shopify Plus because they get this support, and it means they also like need agencies and they need more app to help them to sell. But if you come to Japan, if you want to do something with Japan, you have to localize. The language, English will not work. You have to translate your app. You have to have customer support in Japanese. And also customer support is very, very important because the expectation from many business owners are quite high in Japan. So customer support has to be in Japanese. Email, chat, maybe phone, it has to be done in Japanese. Another thing, like a note about like localization, what you have to do, like what Shopify actually did, is like how the addresses are formatted in Japanese. Usually in most Western, but not only Western countries, you got the address, city field, prefecture, like state. In Japan, like the city is not in the city field. There's no city field. The city name is with the address one. So it was a big change for Shopify, like to adapt that on their checkout. And it's something also like if your app is, logistics related, you have something you have to take in account. So that's here for my talk. You can take a picture, send me an email, visit me in Kyoto. It's a beautiful city, and finally Japan is now open to foreign tourists. So I hope you can visit one day. And feel very free now to ask me any questions about my story or Shopify in Japan. Thank you.
Hi, Thomas. Thanks for the wonderful, valuable story. Learned a lot from it. My question is that I'm also, as you know, I'm based in Japan as well too. What is your experience for other Shopify developers who are wanting to get into the Japanese market as a foreigner? What, the difficulties and learning and growing your application, in Japan as a foreigner?
Yeah, thanks. Like for us, what was very difficult is to get this API from Yamato and Sagawa. They had only like 3 very large businesses using the API, and one was Rakuten. And we are a team of 5 foreigners, mostly like asking for the API. And I believe actually it really helped me to be a foreigner because when they said no, I didn't listen to them, and I went back again and again. While once I visited a very large customers with Japanese partners, and they said no. And Japanese partners said, okay, it's muridane, we can't do it. I said, no. They said no today, but in 6 months they say yes. You just need to, to try to find the right person in the I guess it's not only in Japan, when we want to work with a very large businesses, you have to find the right people inside the company who are eager to do more work, to take some responsibility, who have the responsibility to make things move forward. So I don't know if it makes any difference, but I think you can get a lot of good things, positive things as a foreigner, to not feel the pressure, not feel about a lot of things that you think as a Japanese would be like when they say no, it's no, actually it's not. So yeah, it could be helpful. But for sure, you have to localize, you have to speak the language. It's much more helpful. Hi.
Hi. So that kind of ties into your answer to that last question. But what was the steps of you getting the API documentation? Because that sounds crazy to me. The fact that if I see a public API, I'm like, okay, it's public. It's either they have an API or it doesn't. So what kind of people did you actually have to talk to get that?
So actually, no one was really in charge, and that was the issue. And but for the main Japanese carriers. I tried different techniques. Once actually was going there with the guy actually was country manager for Shopify in Japan at that time, and thought maybe if we go with someone from a larger company, it's gonna help us. It did not really. It was a persistence, just trying to do it, find the right guy, and we actually find one guy, Yamato, is very helpful and wanted to make this happen, but it's not only about him. So yeah, it's really about people. Even if the company is very big, just find the right guy, who can make it happen. And then we got a Excel file. The API was it was in an Excel file. Or a CD. No more questions? Yes. Someone here.
Thanks. Have you found a way to monetize the other end, the couriers themselves? Have you tried any of that, or do you think it's just having them as a part of your platform is the biggest win? Have you taken it to the next level and gone, hang on a minute, I'm getting more people using their service, therefore I want a piece of that?
So you mean selling rates for our app?
Charging the actual carrier themselves to be part of your app.
Oh.
Or did I just make you a lot of money by mentioning that?
So actually, about the business model, most of the famous shipping app on Shopify, like Ship&Co, ShipStation, ShipIt, EasyShip, I think their main business model is getting a spot commission on each shipping rates, right? If you are a new to e-commerce, you don't have any carrier account with DHL, with Australia Post or whatever, USPS in the US. You're gonna use one of these apps, and you don't need to contact the carriers. You get pre-to shipping labels, you pay $5 for shipping, and the app will take 10 cents or 20 cents. We don't do that, because at first, actually, we can't do that, because every carrier said, no, we don't want this business model. We want to own our customers, the shippers. So we don't sell rates, and I think it's a good thing for us, because we can focus on the solution, we can focus on UI, UX, on, if you are medium, large size business, you have your own discount, you have your own carrier account with FedEx, and we can't beat that price anyway. And about monetize the integration with our app, I think it's possible with some small carriers who are actually, oh, we want you to integrate with our API. They have an API, or they made it actually one API for us to integrate with, and yeah, I think it's possible to monetize. But should we do that? Spend 2 weeks or maybe 2 months on an integration, and then end up with maybe 10 users shipping with them? I'm not sure. the more integration we do, more chance we have. We add like a bugs to the app as well. So I'm not sure it's worth it. Okay. If you have any tech-related questions, Stefan is working here with me. Can answer later. So it's subscription based on how much shipments you do with our app. We charge it. Yes. No, we have done that actually once. Customization request by a very big logistics company in Japan. They wanted the same app, but just with their color, and then we said yes, and then they said, oh, but we want that and that and that, and it just broke everything. So, like doing a customization OEM for some large customers is something we don't accept anymore. And actually, we have been firm on that like the past year. And the last couple of months, we saw like two very large trading companies and logistics companies in Japan like say, okay, we're going to use it like that. So they have their own ERP or WMS, but they don't have any integration with Shopify. So like for the shipping process, they just use Ship&Co, our app, and the UI, it just works perfectly for them. Okay, thank you everyone.